The night my 7-year-old stopped asking about her father, I thought it meant she was okay. I was wrong. Weeks later, her school asked her to draw her family, and she drew only 2 people. That drawing didn't just upset parents. It brought back the family who once walked away from us. I thought the hardest part would be facing them again. I didn't know the real ending would come from my daughter. In one sentence, that made me choose between the family I came from and the one I was raising. The apartment is quiet in the way only poor places get quiet at night. Not peaceful, just holding its breath. The heater clicks, then stops. Clicks again. It never decides what it wants. Lucy sleeps on her side of the bed, one arm curled under her chin, her mouth slightly open like she's about to ask a question she already knows better than to ask. I sit on the edge of the bathtub with the lid closed, my back against the cold wall. The light above the mirror flickers once before settling. This is the only room in the apartment with a lock. That's not an accident. I learned that early. I don't cry loudly, I don't sob. I learned not to do that too. I let the tears come slowly, quietly, the way you learn to do when you don't want anyone to feel responsible for your pain. I cover my mouth with my hand even though there's no one here to hear me. Old habits stick harder than hope. Lucy thinks I'm strong, or maybe she just thinks I'm normal. I used to think she didn't notice the cracks, the pauses before I answer, the way I stare at nothing when the mail comes, the way I double-check prices even after I already know I can't afford what I'm holding. I used to think I was protecting her. The truth is, Lucy learned silence by watching me practice it every day. The bathroom smells like cheap soap and damp towels that never fully dry. The mirror is fogged from the shower I took earlier, though I barely remember stepping under the water. Most days blur together like that. Work, school, dinner, sleep, repeat. Survival has a rhythm. Once you learn it, your body keeps time even when your heart doesn't want to. I wipe my face before I unlock the door. I always do that, even if Lucy is asleep, even if she couldn't possibly see me. Shame doesn't need an audience. When I step back into the bedroom, I pause. Lucy hasn't moved, but her breathing changes. Just slightly. The smallest hitch, like she was listening. For a moment, I wonder if she's awake. I tell myself she isn't. I crawl into bed carefully, easing my weight down so the mattress doesn't squeak. The blanket smells like laundry detergent and something faintly sweet. Lucy insists on using too much fabric softener because she says it makes the blankets happy. I turn toward the wall, giving her my back. It feels safer that way. I close my eyes and try to think of nothing. That's another skill you pick up when thinking hurts too much. But my mind doesn't listen. It drifts, like it always does, to the things that aren't here. Lucy has never asked about her father. Not once. People think that's strange. They usually say it with a careful voice, like they're handling something fragile. She doesn't ask, they'll say. No curiosity. They assume it means she doesn't care, or that I've filled her head with stories, or that she's missing something and just doesn't know it yet. What they don't understand is this. Children ask questions when they believe answers exist. Lucy learned early that some doors don't open, no matter how politely you knock. She learned that from me. I grew up in a house where questions were tolerated only if they led somewhere acceptable. A house where love came with terms and conditions written in invisible ink. I didn't know how invisible they were until I broke one. When I told my family I was pregnant, no one yelled. No one slammed doors. No one disowned me out loud. They just stopped staying. Phone calls slowed. Messages went unanswered. Invitations disappeared. My name faded from conversations like it had been penciled in lightly and erased when no one was looking. By the time Lucy was born, I was already practicing how to explain absence without making it sound like abandonment. She's busy. They live far away. They'll visit someday. Someday is a very useful word. It buys you time. It postpones disappointment. It keeps hope on life support even when you know it's not going to make it. Lucy's birthday came and went. Then another, someday never showed up. Now Lucy is 7, and she understands more than I want her to. She understands patterns. Who comes back, who doesn't. She understands that our family is small and that small things have to be handled carefully. She understands that crying happens behind closed doors. I hear her shift beside me. I hold my breath. "Mama," she whispers. My heart jumps like I've been caught doing something wrong. "I'm here," I say softly, keeping my voice steady. Normal. Safe. She doesn't open her eyes. "You okay?" I hesitate for half a second too long. Lucy always notices the half seconds. "I'm just tired," I say. She hums quietly, a sound she makes when she's thinking but doesn't want to push. "Okay?" Her hand reaches out in the dark and finds my sleeve. She doesn't grab it. She just rests her fingers there, light as if she's giving me the option to pull away. I don't. She falls back into deeper sleep after that. I can tell by the rhythm of her breathing. It evens out, softens, trusts. I stare at the wall until my eyes burn. I think about how many nights I've spent convincing myself that this is enough. That love, when it's just two people, doesn't count less. That we don't need anyone else to validate what we already have. Most nights, I almost believe it. Tonight, something feels different. Not worse. Just tighter. Like the world is drawing a slow breath, preparing to say something I'm not ready to hear. I don't know yet that tomorrow will bring a phone call from Lucy's school. I don't know yet that a drawing made with cheap crayons will pull things I buried back into the light. All I know, lying there in the dark, is that my daughter is asleep beside me, her fingers still touching my sleeve, and that for the first time in a long while, I let myself cry without locking the door. Morning comes without asking permission. The alarm goes off at 6, the same thin electronic sound that cuts through sleep like a wire. I shut it off quickly, not because it's loud, but because it's sharp. It feels rude to let it ring too long in a place this small. Lucy groans and pulls the blanket over her head. 5 more minutes, she mumbles. You said that yesterday, I say. And the day before, she replies, her voice already smiling. I let her have the 5 minutes. I always do. The kitchen smells like toast and instant coffee. I don't bother measuring the grounds anymore. Too strong is better than too weak. Strong keeps you upright. Lucy sits at the table swinging her legs, brushing her hair with the focus of someone performing an important task. There's a small knot she keeps missing near the back. I reach over and fix it without saying anything. She leans into my hand without looking at me. That's how most of our mornings go. Quiet cooperation, small touches, no wasted words. She eats her toast slowly, tearing off the crusts and lining them up on the edge of the plate. I've stopped telling her to eat them. You learn which battles are worth energy. Art day, she says suddenly. I glance up from rinsing a mug. Today? She nods. We're drawing families. The word hangs there between us, heavier than it should be. Okay, I say carefully. That sounds fun. She shrugs. It's easy. I don't ask what she means by that. On the walk to school, the air is sharp with cold. Lucy wears the blue coat we got from the donation center last year. The zipper sticks halfway up, so she keeps it closed with one hand pressed against her chest. I tell myself I'll fix it this weekend. I've been telling myself that for months. We stop at the crosswalk. Lucy reaches for my hand without thinking. Her fingers are cold, but steady. Mama, she says, staring straight ahead, can families be small? Yes, I answer too quickly. She nods like she already knew. Okay. I watch her disappear through the school doors, her backpack bouncing against her shoulders. She doesn't look back. She never does. That used to hurt. Now I tell myself it means she feels safe enough not to check. The day crawls. At work, I fold the same shirts over and over, the fabric warm from the dryers. My mind keeps drifting back to Lucy and her crayons, to what she might draw, to what she might leave out. By the time my phone buzzes in my pocket, I'm already tense. Hello? I answer, my voice too formal. "Hi, this is Lucy's teacher," the woman says. Her tone is careful, neutral, the kind of voice people use when they don't want to be misunderstood. My stomach drops anyway. "Is everything okay?" I ask. "Yes," she says quickly. "Nothing urgent. I was hoping you might have time to come by tomorrow after school, just to talk." About what? Those words sit on my tongue, but I swallow them. "Of course," I say. "I can do that." She thanks me, tells me the time, and hangs up. The rest of the day blurs. I pick Lucy up from aftercare. She chatters about a game they played and a boy who cried because he lost. She doesn't mention art class. I don't bring it up. At dinner, she eats quietly, more thoughtful than usual. "Did you draw today?" I ask, trying to sound casual. She nods. "Yeah." "What did you draw?" She considers this. "Our kitchen." I freeze, fork halfway to my mouth. "And us?" I ask. She looks at me like the answer should be obvious. "Who else?" That night, after she's asleep, I find myself scrolling through old messages on my phone. Ones I told myself I'd deleted. Ones I told myself didn't matter. My mother's name sits at the top of the screen, gray and inactive. The last message from me says, "She started school today. Seen." No reply. I don't know why I still keep it. Maybe because deleting it would mean admitting something out loud. The meeting at the school happens the next afternoon. The classroom smells like crayons and disinfectant wipes. Tiny chairs. Posters about kindness and sharing. Lucy's teacher smiles when she sees me, but there's tension in her shoulders. She gestures for me to sit. I want to start by saying, "Lucy is a wonderful student," she says. "She's thoughtful, observant." My chest tightens. Compliments first. That's how these conversations usually go. "It's about the family drawing," she continues. "There was some concern." "Concern?" I repeat. One of the parents felt it might be confusing for the other children. I stare at her. "Confusing how?" She hesitates. "It's just that Lucy's drawing didn't include certain elements." I think of the empty spaces in Lucy's pictures, the way she never fills the whole page. "She drew her family," I say quietly. "Yes," the teacher agrees. "Of course, and that's not wrong, it's just—" The door opens before she can finish. A man steps in, tall, gray hair, calm eyes. "I hope I'm not interrupting," he says. "No," the teacher replies. "Perfect timing." He introduces himself as the principal, shakes my hand. His grip is firm, but not overpowering. "I saw Lucy's drawing," he says. My throat tightens. "And?" He doesn't answer right away. He just nods, slowly, like he's considering something carefully. "It was honest," he says finally. The room goes quiet. I don't know yet what that honesty will cost us. I only know that something has already shifted, and it's too late to pretend it hasn't. After the meeting, I walk Lucy home instead of taking the bus. She skips over the cracks in the sidewalk like they're landmines. I watch her feet more than her face, because I don't trust my expression yet. The principal's words keep echoing in my head. It was honest. Honest is a dangerous thing to be when people expect something else. "Did you get in trouble?" Lucy asks, casual, like she's asking about dinner. "No," I say. "Why would you?" She shrugs. "Sometimes grown-ups talk funny when kids do stuff different." That lands heavier than it should. At home, she drops her backpack by the door and heads straight for the kitchen. She pulls out the crayons without asking, spreads them across the table, and starts drawing again. The same colors, the same careful pressure. She doesn't fill the page. She never does. I watch from the counter, pretending to clean. "What are you drawing now?" I ask. "Our house," she says. "But later?" "Later." "Yeah, when it looks right." I let that go. The rest of the week passes in small, ordinary pieces. Work, school, dinner, sleep. But underneath it, there's a hum, like a wire pulled too tight. I feel watched in places I shouldn't. In the school hallway, at the grocery store, even in my own thoughts. On Thursday, I notice another drawing taped up in the hallway at Lucy's school, then another, Different kids, different families, some big, some small. Lucy's drawing is still there. No name, just paper. Parents stop in front of it longer than they stop in front of the others. I catch their expressions as I pass by. Confusion, discomfort, something that looks suspiciously like recognition. One mother whispers to another. I don't hear the words, but I don't need to. That afternoon, Lucy comes home quieter than usual. Did something happen? I ask. She shrugs, the universal language of children protecting adults. They asked where my dad was, she says finally. And what did you say? She takes off her shoes slowly, lines them up neatly. I said he wasn't here. That's all, she nods. That's all there is. That night, after Lucy falls asleep, I sit at the kitchen table staring at the fridge. Old drawings are still taped there. Our kitchen, me and her. Always the same angle, like she's standing in the same spot, watching the same moment repeat. I wonder how long she's been doing that. On Friday morning, my phone buzzes again. This time it's not the teacher. It's a number I don't have saved, but I know it anyway. Muscle memory is like that. It remembers what you wish it wouldn't. I let it ring once, twice. Then I answer. Hello? There's a pause, a breath I recognize. It's me, my mother says. My chest tightens. I sit down without realizing it. I heard you came to the school, she continues, like this is casual, like we spoke yesterday. I don't ask how she knows. I already understand something I didn't before. Yes, I say. Another pause. We were worried. We, not I. About what? I ask. About Lucy, she says. Children need stability. I close my eyes. We're stable, I say. We always have been. She sighs, soft and practiced. You don't have to be defensive. I almost laugh. Almost. After we hang up, my hands shake. Not from anger, from something worse. Doubt. That evening, Lucy notices. You okay? She asks. The same words she used the night I thought she was asleep. I hesitate. Yes, I say. She looks at me for a long moment. Then she slides her drawing across the table toward me. I'm still fixing it, she says, but it's almost done. I look down. It's us, in the kitchen. Same as always, but this time the lines are darker, firmer, like she's decided something. Do you like it? She asks. I swallow. I love it. She smiles, relieved, and goes to bed. And I stay up long after the lights are off, staring at the picture, at the empty spaces, at how intentional they are. For the first time, I understand that Lucy isn't missing anything. She's choosing. And that scares me more than anything else. The meeting is scheduled for Tuesday afternoon, but the tension starts building long before that. By Monday morning, the hallway outside Lucy's classroom feels narrower. Parents linger longer than usual. Conversations stop when I pass. Smiles come a second too late, or not at all. Lucy notices. She always does. People are looking at the wall again, she says as we hang up her coat. Yes, I say. Is that bad? I kneel to zip her jacket the rest of the way down. The zipper catches, then slides free. I smooth the fabric like that solves something bigger. No, I tell her. It just means they're thinking. She considers that. Thinking can be loud. Almost smile. The classroom smells like glue sticks and pencil shavings. Lucy goes to her desk without looking back. I wait until she's seated before I leave. I always wait. It's a small thing, but it makes my chest loosen when she doesn't notice. That afternoon, I take my break early at work. I sit in my car with the engine off, hands wrapped around a paper cup of coffee I don't need. I rehearse answers to questions no one has asked yet. By the time I walk into the school office, my shoulders ache like I've been carrying something heavy for too long. The principal's office is quieter than the rest of the building. The walls are bare, except for a framed quote about resilience. I don't read it. I never read those things. They always feel like they're talking to someone else. Mr. Collins gestures for me to sit. He folds his hands on the desk, patient, waiting for me to breathe. I wanted to talk about how things are going, he says. I nod. Okay. There's been some reaction to Lucy's drawing, he continues. Nothing official, just discussion. Discussion about what? I ask. He chooses his words carefully. About representation, about what children see as normal. I feel the familiar tightening in my chest, the sense that I'm being evaluated against a standard no one bothered to explain. She drew her family, I say again. I hear the edge in my voice this time. That is her normal. Yes, he says quickly, and that's not in question. I wait. He sighs. Some parents feel uncomfortable when their children ask questions they don't know how to answer. I stare at the desk between us. That's not Lucy's responsibility. No, he agrees. It isn't. Silence stretches. He doesn't rush to fill it. I realize he's giving me space on purpose. We won't be taking the drawing down, he says finally. My breath catches. I didn't realize how tightly I'd been holding it. But, he adds, I wanted you to be aware. Things like this can bring attention. I'm used to attention, I say, before I can stop myself. He looks at me then. Really looks. So am I, he says quietly. I leave the office with a strange mix of relief and dread. Nothing bad has happened. Nothing good either. Just a shift. A line crossed that can't be uncrossed. When I pick Lucy up from aftercare, she's sitting cross-legged on the floor, reading. She looks up and smiles when she sees me. That same unguarded smile she's had since she was a baby. Can we stop at the store? She asks. We're out of apples. Yes, I say, we can. At the store, she insists on pushing the basket. It's almost too big for her, and she steers it like a ship, serious and focused. She places the apples carefully, one by one, checking for bruises. Did the teacher say anything today? I ask. She shakes her head. No. Did anyone else? She hesitates just for a moment. A girl asked why my family is small. And what did you say? She shrugs. I said small things can still be important. I swallow hard. That was a good answer. She looks up at me. Is it true? Yes, I say without hesitation. It is. That night, I dream of our old house, the one I grew up in. The rooms feel larger than they ever were, emptier. Voices echo without faces attached. I wake up with my heart racing, my mother's voice lingering in the dark. The next day, Tuesday, comes faster than I want it to. The school is hosting a small open house-style exhibition of the children's work, nothing formal, just a chance for parents to walk through, look at the drawings, talk to teachers. Lucy is excited. She picks out her clothes carefully, smoothing the front of her shirt more than necessary. Will you be there? She asks. Yes, I say. I'll be there. The hallway is crowded when we arrive. Parents cluster in small groups, cups of coffee in hand. Children tug on sleeves, pointing at their work. Lucy leads me straight to the wall. Her drawing is still there. 2 figures, one taller, one smaller, a kitchen table, a window, space. So much space. She stands beside me, proud but quiet. That's ours, she says. I know, I reply. That's when I hear my name. It's my mother's voice. I don't turn right away. I don't need to. My body already knows what's behind me. The air feels heavier, like it did when I was a child and knew I was about to disappoint someone. I turn slowly. She's standing there with my sister. Both of them dressed like they planned this. Smiles ready, concern carefully arranged. We wanted to support Lucy, my mother says. Lucy's fingers tighten around mine. The room feels too bright, too loud, and suddenly I understand why some doors are better left closed. For a moment, no one moves. My mother stands there like she belongs, like she didn't disappear years ago and leave silence where answers should have been. My sister's smile flickers when she sees Lucy holding my hand, her fingers wrapped tight around mine like an anchor. Lucy, my mother says gently, bending slightly, as if height alone creates authority. You've gotten so big. Lucy doesn't answer. She looks up at me instead. That look does something to my chest. It's not fear. It's a question she doesn't say out loud, the kind she's learned to ask with her eyes because words can get adults defensive. I squeeze her hand once. Stay. We didn't know you were coming, I say. My mother waves it off. We heard about the exhibition, about the drawing. We thought it was important to be here. Important. That word again? Lucy shifts closer to me. Her shoulder presses against my leg. She smells like apples and school glue. A few parents glance over. Not openly, not obviously. But I feel it. Attention gathers like static before a storm. This is Lucy's work, I say, keeping my voice level. She's proud of it. And she should be, my sister adds quickly. It's very simple. I look at her. Yes, it is. The silence stretches. My mother clears her throat. We've been worried. About me? About Lucy? About what people might think? She doesn't say. We thought maybe we could talk, she continues. Later. Somewhere quieter. Lucy's fingers tighten again. We're fine, I say. My mother's smile falters just slightly. We just want what's best for her. Lucy finally looks up at my mother. Her expression is calm, curious, not warm, not cold, just observant. What's that? She asks. The question lands wrong, too direct, too honest. My mother hesitates. A full family, she says, choosing the words carefully. Stability. Lucy nods slowly like she's filing the information away. Oh, she says, we already have that. My sister laughs, a short sound meant to soften things. Sweetheart, you don't really understand yet. Lucy doesn't argue. She just looks back at her drawing. I understand my house, she says. No one responds to that. Around us, conversations resume, but quieter. Like people are pretending not to listen while catching every word. A teacher approaches, saving everyone from whatever comes next. She smiles, bright and practiced. Lucy, your drawing has gotten a lot of attention, she says. Would you like to tell your classmates about it later? Lucy shakes her head. No, thank you. The teacher looks surprised. Are you sure? Lucy nods. It already says what it needs to. The teacher blinks, then smiles again. All right. My mother exhales slowly. She's very articulate. She listens, I say. That's different. We don't stay much longer. Lucy tugs my sleeve, subtle but insistent. Can we go home? She whispers. Yes, I say immediately. As we walk away, I feel my mother watching us, waiting, expecting me to turn back, to soften, to invite her into the space I worked so hard to protect. I don't. Outside, the air is colder, cleaner. Lucy takes a deep breath like she's been underwater and just surfaced. I didn't do anything wrong, right? She asks. No, I say. You didn't. She nods. Okay. We walk to the car in silence. The sky is starting to dim, that gray-blue color that makes everything feel unfinished. When we get inside, Lucy buckles herself in. She's quiet, unusually so. Mama, she says after a moment. Yes? Do people come back when they feel bad? The question hits harder than I expect. Sometimes, I say carefully, sometimes they come back because they're uncomfortable. What's the difference? I stare out the windshield. The difference is what they do after. She thinks about that. They didn't say sorry. No, I say. They didn't. Lucy leans her head against the seat. Then I think they just felt uncomfortable. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. At home, she goes straight to the table and pulls out her drawing. She adds one small line near the window. Just a line. Nothing dramatic. What's that? I ask. The light, she says. I forgot it before. That night, after she falls asleep, I sit alone in the kitchen. The drawing lies in front of me. I trace the edges with my finger. For the first time, I don't see what's missing. I see what stayed. I don't know yet that this isn't over, that my family won't let discomfort sit quietly, that wanting back in doesn't mean knowing how to belong. All I know is that Lucy went to sleep without asking where anyone else was. and that feels like something worth protecting. The call comes the next morning. Not from the school, not from work. It's my mother again. I stare at the phone until it stops ringing. Then it rings again, immediately, like she's standing on the other end waiting to see if I'll flinch. I answer on the second ring. "Yes," I say. "We didn't finish our conversation yesterday," she says. "We weren't having one," I reply. She sighs, that familiar sound designed to make me feel unreasonable. "You walked away." "I took my daughter home." There's a pause. I imagine her pressing her lips together, recalculating. "We just want to help," she says. "Lucy deserves more." I grip the edge of the counter. She has enough. "Enough for now," my mother corrects. "But she's growing. Children need options." Options. Another careful word. "What are you offering?" I ask. "Well," she says, voice softening, "we could be more involved. Weekends, holidays, stability." The way she says we makes it sound like a gift. "You weren't involved before," I say. "That was different," she replies quickly. "You were figuring things out." I almost laugh. "I'm still figuring things out," I say. "I always will be." Silence stretches between us. "You're being defensive," she says again. "No," I answer. "I'm being clear." She changes tactics. I hear it in the shift of her voice. "Lucy needs a bigger world," she says. "Structure. Family gatherings, traditions." I picture Lucy lining up apple slices on her plate, folding her pajamas before bed, waiting quietly when adults speak over her. "She has structure," I say. "It just doesn't look like yours." My mother exhales sharply. "You're making this about you." I close my eyes. "You're making it about what people see." That lands. "We just don't want her to miss out," she says. I don't respond right away. When I speak, my voice surprises me. It's calm, steady. "She's not missing out," I say. "She's not looking for you." The line goes quiet. "That's not fair," my mother says finally. "No," I reply. "It's honest." We hang up without saying goodbye. Lucy notices my mood before I say anything. She always does. "You talk to them again," she says that evening, watching me stir a pot of soup. "Yes," I admit. "Are they coming back?" she asks. I turn off the stove. I crouch so we're eye level. "They want to," I say carefully, "but wanting something doesn't always mean it's right." She studies my face. "Do you want them to?" The question is softer than the others, more dangerous. I think about the house I grew up in, the way love felt conditional, the way approval came with rules. "I want you to be safe," I say. She nods. "Me too." That night, I dream of a table too long to reach across. People sitting on one side, me and Lucy on the other, everyone smiling, but no one passing the food. When I wake up, my phone is buzzing. A text this time. We should talk in person. It's better for Lucy. I stare at the words until they blur. Better for Lucy. Always Lucy. Never the years they missed. Never the silence. At school pickup, a woman I don't recognize stops me. "I just wanted to say," she begins awkwardly, "my son asked about Lucy's drawing. It led to a good conversation." I nod, unsure what to say. "He asked why some families are small," she continues. "I told him small doesn't mean lacking." Her smile is genuine, brief. She walks away before I can thank her. Lucy hops down the steps and runs to me. "Can we go home?" she asks. "Yes," I say. On the walk back, she kicks at a leaf, watching it slide across the sidewalk. "Mama," she says, "if people want to be family, do they have to practice first?" I stop walking. "What do you mean?" I ask. She shrugs. "Like saying sorry, or showing up." I swallow. "Yes," I say, "they do." She nods, satisfied. That evening, another message comes in. We'd like Lucy to spend some time with us, just to reconnect with something that never connected in the first place. I don't answer. I sit at the kitchen table long after Lucy goes to bed. I think about how easy it would be to say yes, how convincing their words sound, how tired I am of standing alone. And then I think about Lucy's fingers tightening around mine in that hallway. I realize something then, slowly and painfully. They aren't asking for permission. They're assuming I'll eventually give in. And for the first time, I'm not sure I will. The invitation comes folded in politeness, not a demand, not a threat, a suggestion. My mother texts again 2 days later, this time careful enough to feel rehearsed. Dinner this Sunday, just us. Lucy should know where she comes from. I read the message 3 times. Lucy is sitting on the floor beside the couch, coloring. She hums to herself, low and steady, the way she does when she's content. Her legs are crossed. Her shoes are lined up neatly by the door. "Who's texting?" she asks without looking up. "No one important," I say. That's a lie, but it's also the truth. I don't answer my mother. I don't refuse either. I let the message sit there, unread by intention, even though I've already memorized it. Sunday comes anyway. It always does. That morning, Lucy wakes up early and crawls into my bed. She presses her cold feet against my legs and laughs when I pretend to protest. "Can we make pancakes?" she asks. "Yes," I say. We make them slowly. Lucy insists on stirring the batter herself, even though it splashes onto the counter. She flips the pancakes with serious concentration, tongue caught between her teeth. I watch her like I always do, cataloging these moments without meaning to. The way her hair falls into her eyes, the way she wipes her hands on her pajama shirt instead of the towel hanging right beside her. This is our tradition, unannounced, unremarkable, ours. The phone buzzes on the counter. Lucy glances at it, then back at me. "You didn't answer," she says. "No," I admit. She nods. "Okay, that's all. No questions, no pressure, just acceptance." It settles over me heavier than any argument ever could. By noon, the sky turns the color of wet concrete. I try to convince myself it's just another day. Laundry, homework, dishes, the quiet comfort of routine. Then the knock comes. 3 sharp raps, confident, expectant. Lucy freezes. I don't move right away. I don't need to look through the peephole to know who it is. When I open the door, my mother stands there, holding a grocery bag. My sister is beside her, keys dangling from her fingers like this was always the plan. "We were nearby," my mother says. Lucy steps closer to me, her shoulder brushing my leg. "We didn't invite you," I say. My mother's smile tightens. "We didn't want to make it awkward." I almost laugh. She looks past me into the apartment. The smallness of it is obvious from the doorway. There's nowhere for the eye to rest without bumping into something. "Oh," she says quietly, "this is cozy." Lucy looks up at her. "It's our house." "Yes," my mother says. "Of course." They step inside without waiting for permission. The grocery bag lands on the counter. Apples, bread, things meant to look thoughtful. My sister crouches slightly. "Hey, Lucy." Lucy doesn't answer. She doesn't hide either. She just stays where she is, pressed into my side. "We brought dinner," my mother says, "so you wouldn't have to worry." I feel something rise in my chest, old, sharp. "We weren't worried," I reply. My mother turns to Lucy. "Wouldn't you like to have dinner with your family?" Lucy looks at the bag, then at the table, then at me. "I already did," she says. "We had pancakes." My sister laughs softly. "That's not what she means." Lucy tilts her head. "Why not?" The question hangs there. My mother straightens. "Lucy, sweetheart, family is important. Being together matters." Lucy considers this very carefully. "You left," she says. It's not accusatory. It's factual, like pointing out a missing chair. My mother's face changes, not anger, something closer to embarrassment. "We were giving space," she says. Lucy nods. "We stayed." Silence drops into the room like something heavy. I feel my resolve wobble. Years of training kick in, the instinct to smooth things over, to apologize even when I don't know what for. My mother reaches out and touches Lucy's arm. We just want to be part of your life, she says. Lucy gently pulls her arm back. I don't know you, she says quietly. That's when my mother looks at me. Say something, she says. She's a child. I look down at Lucy, at her steady eyes, at the calm certainty in her posture. She's listening, I say. She always has. My mother's mouth opens, then closes. You're keeping her from us, she says. No, I answer. You stayed away on your own. My sister shifts uncomfortably. Mom, maybe. But my mother is already shaking her head. She needs a bigger family, she insists. A normal one. Lucy's fingers tighten around my sleeve. Mama, she says softly. Yes? Can we go home now? The room goes still. We are home, my mother says quickly. Lucy looks around. The counter, the table, the drawings taped to the fridge. Then she looks up at me. Mama, she repeats, her voice calm and certain. Can we go home now? Something inside me clicks into place. I straighten. Yes, I say. I take Lucy's hand and grab my coat. My mother stares at me, stunned. You're overreacting, she says. No, I reply. I'm choosing. We walk past them, out the door, down the hallway. Lucy doesn't look back. In the car, she buckles herself in and exhales like she's been holding her breath for a long time. I don't like it when people pretend, she says. I know, I reply. As I start the engine, my phone buzzes again. A message from my mother. You're making a mistake. I put the phone face down. Lucy rests her head against the seat. Mama, she says, eyes closing. Our family is enough. I grip the steering wheel, my vision blurring. Yes, I whisper. It is. We don't drive far, just far enough that the apartment stops feeling like it's pressing in on us. I park by the small playground near the river, the one with the swings that squeak and the slide that's always cold, even in summer. The sky hangs low, heavy with clouds that haven't decided what they want to do. Lucy unbuckles herself and waits. She always waits for me. Do you want to swing? I ask. She shakes her head. Can we just sit? We sit on a bench facing the water. It moves slowly, steady and patient, like it's not in a hurry to get anywhere. Lucy leans against me, her head fitting perfectly under my arm like it was designed that way. For a while, neither of us speaks. I can feel my heart pounding, the delayed reaction finally catching up to me. My hands tremble slightly. I press them together to keep Lucy from noticing. I didn't mean to make things weird, she says quietly. My chest tightens. You didn't? I didn't want to be rude, she adds. You weren't, I say. You were honest. She looks up at me then. Is honesty bad? No, I answer immediately. It's just uncomfortable for people who aren't used to it. She thinks about that, watching the water. They looked uncomfortable. Yes, I say. They did. Another pause, a longer one. Mama? She asks. Yes? If I had said yes, would we have stayed? The question lands softly, but it cracks something open inside me. I imagine it. Sitting back down, letting my mother take over the kitchen, letting Lucy be passed from arm to arm by people who don't know her rhythms, pretending the years of absence were just a misunderstanding. Yes, I say honestly, we probably would have. She nods. I didn't want that. I know, I reply. She frowns slightly. Was that selfish? No, I say, my voice breaking despite my effort. That was brave. She relaxes against me again, satisfied. We stay there until the sky darkens and the air turns cold. When we finally head back to the car, Lucy yawns, her energy spent. At home, she changes into pajamas and curls up on the couch with a book she's read a dozen times. Halfway through the first page, her eyes droop. Will they come back again? She asks, barely awake. I brush her hair away from her face. I don't know. Okay, she murmurs. If they do, we can decide again. I smile through the tightness in my throat. Yes, we can. She falls asleep before I carry her to bed. Later that night, after the apartment settles into its familiar quiet, my phone buzzes. A voicemail. I don't listen to it. Then another message. You embarrassed us. Lucy deserves better than this. I stare at the words until they lose their shape. For the first time, I don't feel the urge to explain myself. I walk into the bathroom and turn on the light. The mirror reflects a woman who looks tired, yes, but also steadier than she has in a long time. I sit on the edge of the tub. I cry. Not quietly this time. The sound escapes before I can stop it, sharp and sudden, like air rushing out of a room that's been sealed too long. I cover my face, but I don't lock the door. Halfway through the tears, I realize something. I'm not hiding. The thought surprises me enough that I start laughing softly, right there in the bathroom, tears still running down my face. I'm not hiding anymore. I wipe my eyes and look at myself again. We're okay, I say out loud. In the bedroom, Lucy stirs but doesn't wake. Her breathing stays slow even. She feels safe. And for the first time in a long while, so do I. The morning after feels different. Not brighter, not easier, just quieter. The apartment wakes up the way it always does, heater clicking, floorboards creaking, but something inside me has shifted, like furniture moved in the dark. I can feel the space even if I can't see it yet. Lucy pads into the kitchen in her pajamas, hair sticking up in places she didn't bother fixing. Morning, she says. Morning, I reply. She climbs into her chair and rests her chin on the table, watches me pour cereal, watches the milk rise too close to the edge of the bowl. You cried last night, she says. I pause. Not because I'm surprised she knows, because she says it without judgment, without fear. Yes, I admit, she nods once. I heard. I'm sorry, I say automatically. She frowns. Why? I open my mouth, then close it again. I don't know, I say finally. She considers that. It didn't sound bad. No? She shakes her head. It sounded like when you finally sit down after standing too long. I feel something warm spread through my chest. Heavy, but not painful. We eat breakfast slowly. No rush. No tension humming under the surface. Just the scrape of spoons and the quiet comfort of routine. After school, Lucy brings home her backpack lighter than usual. They took the drawings down today, she tells me. My heart jumps. Did they say why? She shrugs. They said the wall needs new things. I nod. I don't ask more. I don't need to. What happened to yours? I ask. She reaches into her bag and pulls it out, edges bent from careful handling. I ask to keep it, she says. At home, she tapes it back onto the fridge, right where it's always been. She smooths the corners like it matters. That night, as I tuck her into bed, she yawns and rolls onto her side. Mama, she says, eyes already half closed. Yes? Families can change, she murmurs, but they don't have to get bigger to be real. I kiss her forehead. That's right. She falls asleep before I finish brushing the hair out of her eyes. I stay there for a while, watching her breathe, letting the moment stretch, letting myself believe it's allowed. Later, I sit alone in the living room, phone face down on the table. I don't check it. I don't need to know if there are more messages waiting. Some things don't require a response. I think about my mother, about how she equated love with presence only when it was convenient, about how she thought family was something you could step in and out of without consequence. I think about how close I came to agreeing, to making myself smaller again, to teaching Lucy that comfort is more important than truth. And I think about that bathroom door. I walk down the hallway and stop in front of it. The light spills out underneath. I step inside. The mirror looks the same. The towels hang where they always have. Nothing dramatic has changed. But the door stays open behind me. I rest my hands on the sink and breathe. I didn't win anything. I didn't fix the past. I didn't make anyone understand. What I did was stay. I stayed with my daughter. I stayed with myself. I stayed in the life I built, even when it shook. From the bedroom, Lucy turns in her sleep and sighs, content. That sound settles something deep inside me. I don't know what tomorrow will bring, I don't know if my family will try again or if silence will return and stay this time. But I know this. If you've never watched a child realize she is enough exactly where she stands, you might not understand why I chose what I chose. And if you have, you won't need me to explain it at all. I didn't tell this story to prove I was right. I told it because somewhere out there, a mother is choosing silence to survive, and a child is learning how to be small to protect her. If this story stayed with you, maybe it's because you've lived a piece of it too. And maybe tonight you'll remember this. Family isn't who comes back when it's convenient. It's who never left when it was hard.